Justice, no peace, no peace, take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice, no peace, no peace, take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice, no peace, no peace, take it to the streets and fuck the police. No justice, no peace, take it to the streets and fuck the police. What do we want? When do we want it? If we don't get it, if we don't get it, if we don't get it, if we don't get it.
Why are we out here today?
We out here today to march with real justice. This is the racial justice march on the DNC.
Excellent.
Yeah, we know we're not going to have racial justice as long as we have this two-party system.
So can we achieve our goals through the ballot box, or we need to get in the streets?
The only thing we can do right now is get in the streets.
Absolutely.
Because in terms of what's on the ballot, I mean, come on. There are some really good candidates out there, but we don't have anything that even approaches a significant political electoral alternative that we can actually take power and serve justice. We're so far away from that right now we need to be focusing on this kind of work.
What are our next steps, do you think?
To me, the beauty of all of these marches on the DNC is I know that only a small portion of what we do is actually going to get to the people who need to hear us. But if only one thing is registered to these people, it's, oh, I thought the Democrats were the good guys. Why is it that all of these people that are fighting for racial, economic, housing, food justice, immigrant justice, international justice, well, why are they protesting against the Democrats? And I know that that's going to register to people as something that's off. And if nothing else gets to them, I hope that gets to them. I really want people to begin to understand that the lesser evil strategy and ideas that have pervaded our societies are not going to work anymore. If we want the kind of justice that we talk about, we absolutely are going to have to fight for it ourselves. And I know that that's an idea that is widely derided. One of the most popular ideas right now that Donald Trump just said the other day was, quote unquote, restore law and order. Hillary Clinton, years ago, I know she still feels this way, that the idea of the super predator, the idea that we need to be putting people in jail when they violate the law, 3 strikes you're out, the crime bill, the idea that people should fight for their own justice, or that when people try to get out there and survive in the streets, that if it's something that violates the laws that were created without their say-so in a way that's not democratic, as far as I'm concerned, the name of that party is ironic, well then the only thing that you have left is repression, and this is what we're seeing. So if we actually want to beat that back, it's going to have to come from us, because the people that are repressing us in the first place absolutely have no kind of interest in easing up so that we can have a better way of life. We absolutely are going to have to do it ourselves, and we're going to have to think a little bit more critically about the role of the state and whether or not it's neutral in calls for justice. It absolutely is not. So we're going to have to develop a better consciousness around the state and its role in our lives, and it being an actual impediment for us seeing the kind of justice that we want. Racial justice, economic justice, food justice, housing justice. We're really going to have to take a close look at that. And hopefully it's actions like this that are pointedly against the lesser of the two evils that will help people to begin to understand that.
Excellent. And what do you see as the major roadblocks to achieving these ends?
The Democratic Party is one of the most major roadblocks to actually achieving that, because people that don't have a nuanced or even a beginner's understanding about the role of the state, about the two-party system, the two capitalist party system, when people don't have that yet, they will continue to cling on to this idea, well, who's the best person in the race? Well, the best person in the race is really, really bad for you. One thing that I really want to say to people, when I'm in a mixed crowd like this, I know that there are people with mixed consciousness, but for the most part, one of the best things about this movement and how it differs from civil rights movements of the past is that this movement is pro-trans. So I can be my full authentic self. I can come out here, I can raise my voice, and people, by and large, will affirm me and let me know that Black trans lives matter and that I absolutely deserve to have a place in this movement. And the fact that we are not clinging to ideas of respectability and quote-unquote family values, that those are not the dominant politics in the racial justice movement, I think we're in a much better position to actually be able to get the kind of justice that we need.
No justice! No peace! No peace! We want people power over the police! No justice! No peace! No peace! We want people power over the police! No justice! No peace! We want people power over the police! No justice! No peace! We want people power over the police!
I live here in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, born and raised.
What do you think our next step should be in this continued fight, this continued struggle against white supremacy in both political parties and in our country in general?
More of this. We're not currently marching right now, but we are building relationships. I think we need to do more of that. Step out of our cubicles, step out of our homes, our little neighborhoods, and start coming together in more intentional moments like this. Not just when things get bad or big events come up, but as a regular sense of community. We are all connected and we should come together more. Think more of that, and then hopefully we can, harness enough brain power to come up with the solutions to these ultra huge problems that hire the best and brightest to figure out the new way to continue.
What do you think are some of the roadblocks not helping us build consensus currently?
It'd be really nice if we all had an education that allowed us to think creatively, because we need a lot of creativity to figure out how to get rid of a lot of these things that aren't creative at all. Yeah, I think education would be nice. It'd be nice to not have to worry where my next meal comes from. Then I could probably focus on other things, on how to enrich my life and the lives of others. But as of right now, it's dog eat dog. I can barely think about the next person, let alone myself, most days.
Do you think our solution's at the ballot box or in the streets?
I've only known the streets, so that's where I'm at. The ballot box is it's really interesting. You have to be a certain person, you have to register to do this. If you've unfortunately faced incarceration, you no longer have that ability to do that. So at least out on the streets, for the most part, is even playing field.
I'm not checking IDs out here.
I'm not checking IDs out here, just ideologies.
Oh yeah.
I'm just a person, a very fed up person. I don't have a fancy title. I breathe the same air as everybody else. I want to drink clean water. I want to be able to enjoy my neighborhood and not have to worry about my neighborhood and my house being taken out from under me. I'd like to walk down the street without having to worry about, do I look threatening today? Is someone going to try and do something to me? I'm just a regular person trying to live to my fullest potential, whatever I can attain, until it's easy, the norm for everyone to reach their full potential.
You've been meeting a lot of like-minded individuals?
A lot of like-minded individuals and a lot of folks who are in different places, and that's cool. I need folks to be in different places. It's not pleasurable or enjoyable, but that's the world, The world I want to live in, folks can have their own ideas and their own visions and their own ideologies, but hopefully they recognize you can have that so long as it doesn't trample on the next person and theirs.
I feel like I just need to be here to, really stand for empowering people. Definitely don't feel like the Hillary DNC is catering to people power in any way. So I need to physically be here. I need to add to the numbers. I need to make it known that our vote does count for something, and you got to cater to people.
What do you think our next steps should be? What are the next steps after the convention? Where do we go from here, in your opinion?
I'm trying to figure that out. I understand the whole concept of you got to vote against Trump, and you got to, not have Republican fascist values win. But at the same time, I feel why is that pressure on me as a Bernie supporter? Automatic. The DNC, Hillary Clinton had this scenario. We had it wrapped up, and I don't feel like I'm the one to blame for all this kind of stuff. And so, don't look to me to be responsible for bringing Trump, about.
The ballot box or the streets are the more important places to organize in the next few years?
You got to show up to vote, but the reality is that people won't really show up to vote because they feel like it's sort of pointless. So in that sense, you got to be on the streets. You got to know what's going on. There's a reason why there's no Hillary people out here, because they have a disconnect of what's actually happening on the streets. It's Bernie movement. It's the left movement. The left movement needs to be catered to. and it will eventually.
Back up, we want our freedom, freedom. Tell these racist hands stop, we don't need them, need them. Back up, we want our freedom, freedom. Tell these racist hands stop, we don't need them, need them.
This is about solidarity, and this is about what it means when you say Black Lives Matter. And what it means when you say Black Lives Matter is that when a black person is speaking about his experience, you shut the fuck up and listen. Because for all these motherfuckers who are upset and mad because now we have Trump 2016, we've been telling you for fucking centuries that this country is racist as shit, and y'all didn't want to believe us. We've been telling you that the cops were killing us, and y'all didn't want to believe us. We were telling you that the legal systems were rigged, and the schools were underfunded, and the houses were being torn down, and y'all didn't want to believe us. And now, when shit hits the fan, now y'all want to come to us and be like, well, I don't want Trump. No, that shit should have happened 40 years ago. That shit should have happened. So when I say this is what real solidarity looks like, this means you don't get to come and be in solidarity because, oh, now I'm at risk. Oh, now I'm worried about me. Oh, now I'm worried about my black friend. No. You should have been worried. Yes. You should have been listening. That's what solidarity is. That's listening. When people are saying we're struggling, you listen. You don't make up excuses. You don't look for whatever evidence you can find to dismiss them. You fucking listen. Yes. That's why even though this is a black resistance march, the leaders who made it up were still Palestinians. They were still Puerto Rican. They were still Mexican. Because when you're in solidarity, you fucking listen. You listen to the people who are oppressed, who never get to speak. And we shouldn't have to go through all of this bullshit right here with the presidency, with the Democratic election, with all of these fucking marches, just to get people to listen to us. That's fucking bullshit. We shouldn't have to go through that shit. So when I say I want some real solidarity, that means after y'all go home, after y'all have your little post, have your little picture to show your grandkids like, yeah, I was there, I did something. You gotta do more shit than this. You have to do way more shit than this. You have to start by making space for oppressed people to speak, for queer people to speak, for disabled people to speak, for black people to speak, for Palestinian people to speak. You have to start with giving people space to speak. You have to continue by listening when they say shit. And then you have to follow through with action, with organizing, with resources. You need to support these movements. You need to commit to these movements.
How's it going, man?
Hey, man, I'm out here looking at the vibes and looking at the peace, looking at the love, and I'm liking everything I'm seeing right now. I'm from Philadelphia, and I never seen this much unity in my city. Never. Right now, I'm out here just being a supporter of unity. You know, I see everybody sticking together. Everybody's fighting for a cause. You know, we already know that we've been scammed in this political aspect. You know, Bernie Sanders didn't win, and we got Hillary and Trump, and we know that we don't want them to be president. You know, so if we don't be the voices that's going to be heard, then no one's ever going to speak about it. So if you don't speak now, then it will never ever be like this again.
Tell me your vision for what you think the next steps should be.
I think the next step should be is we should have our own be able to pick who we want to run the country, or in fact run ourselves. We don't need these politics. We don't need this government, because what has the government done for us? As we can see, nothing but genocide, nothing but brutality, nothing but hate. It's nothing but destruction, and we headed for self-destruction if we don't stick together like we are right now.
Are you worried about the response of the Philly PD?
Well, what I'm worried about is right now we're being peaceful. No one's being violent. No one's hurting each other. No one's harming each other. So if they let us go in peace, then everything's going to end in peace. You know, Violence is not the answer for anything. Without peace and love, you won't have any, end of wars or anything like that.
Were you at the Black Lives Matter protest earlier today?
I just got off of work and I walked right into it, and I automatically fell right in because I felt though it was right. So, I'm just getting off of work, had a long day, and I fell right in with the crowd.
Where are you working these days?
Right. Well, I had to cook at a convention center, and it was for for presidents and stuff like that.
How's it feel making the rich people's food?
It sucks, because they don't care about us. I mean, I'm doing my job to support my family, but I know in the end that they don't care about us.
Is this what democracy looks like?
This is what democracy look like. All these people out here. This is democracy. This is the people. We the people is out here right now. We are the majority, not the minority. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah.
I guess I can kind of comment on the whole entire movement from Bernie Sanders entering the campaign to tonight. And I think it's been all going pretty good. At least for the show of democracy, that it can happen from the local level up. But along the way, we've rattled the cage of the greater corporate system, and they have pushed back, and now they have taken literally democracy from us. And we're out here showing that we're not going to stand for that. And there's groups together that are working together doing it. So I think overall it's been a learning experience and a good experience for a lot of young people, and it's a time, I think, in history that's ready to move in a different direction. I think we're showing that we're going to get away from corporate government, and that we can fund our own candidates in our own systems, and we can stand up for all the things and equal rights that other people need and deserve, all together, all at once. And we don't have to worry about a whole bunch of issues getting in the way of each other, because it's all for one good. Well, we've got social media, and thank goodness we do have that, because we're connected now. And moving forward, we know more along the lines of what the establishment is going to use against us.
Is this gonna end in November? No! Are we gonna be out the very next day in the streets? Yes! Are we gonna be out on Inauguration Day? Yes! Are we gonna keep fighting? Yes! Are we gonna fight for Black Lives Matter? Yes! Against police brutality? Yes! For women's rights? Yes! For gay and trans rights? Yes! For workers' rights? Yes! For immigrant rights? Yes! For Muslim rights? Yes! We're gonna stand together. Yes! We're gonna have unity. That's what it takes. We need to have unity. We need to find our comrades. We need to find the people that we can stand next to in this struggle, the people that we can rely on, the people that we know have good judgment and that we trust, because this is not a one-shot deal. This is not a one-day thing. We need to keep fighting. It is a sustained struggle. It is a marathon, not a sprint. Brother who said, democracy is not a spectator sport, and that is oh so true. We all have to be involved. We all have to be prepared to put ourselves on the line, to work together, sometimes to do things that are difficult and not pleasant. We have to learn to be effective, and we have to be strong and unified. The delegates were being intimidated, but we will not be intimidated.
I have been inside of those walls. I have seen what they're doing to Bernie Sanders. There is not a single Bernie Sanders speaker representing Bernie at any of the breakfasts that I have attended. I have told you, there are over 20 speakers who have been there and saying we need to unify, we need to rally behind Hillary Clinton, and I'm going to show you something today. This is the only Bernie Sanders official DNC merchandise. I swear on my life, I don't have any more proof than this picture. They are portraying Bernie Sanders in a Nazi propaganda style. Do you see how big his nose is? Do you see how drawn out his lips are?
You're saying this is anti-Semitic?
It's anti-Semitic, yes. They've been saying they wanted to attack his religion. There you go. There's your proof. At the DNC tables.
You're making the connection with those emails.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Absolutely. I am the guest of a Bernie Sanders delegate who I choose not to disclose to keep her credentials intact. I am the guest of a delegate.
What state is she from?
She is from Minnesota, where Bernie Sanders won 60% of the vote. Every single county was Bernie, and yet there were only a 2 delegate difference from Bernie winning Minnesota and Hillary winning Minnesota. 2 delegates. And at the roll call, they had the choice to change their vote. They voted Tuesday morning at their hotels, and they had the choice to do whatever the hell they wanted. I was there in the room. I heard it all. You know, I'm not there, you know, I'm out here with you guys. Why would I be out here with you guys when I could be in there? I'm a Bernie or bust person. And at the end of the day, this is wrong. This is wrong. And this is going to set a precedent for every election from here on out. We've only got 30 years to fix our country before it's too damn late because of climate change. So what the fuck do we need to do? We need to burn it down. Dim exit.
What do you think about the incredible election fraud by Hillary Clinton?
I think it is the
40 states. 40
it is literally
states.
The worst in-your-face fraud and corruption that we have seen to this day.
Where's the fucking FBI?
They already said that she had no intent and that they don't really care. Comey is in her pocket.
See, they investigated her emails. They didn't investigate her fraud.
No, and then you also talk about the Clinton foundations. She's been funneling millions of dollars into the Clinton Foundation.
Yes.
How does a politician become a millionaire?
Fraud.
And then we talk about the Goldman Sachs speeches. You want party unity? Release the fucking transcripts. That is the beginning of a very deep divide. That is the beginning. After that, you need to release every single corporate speech you've ever released. If you're saying we need to take corporations out of the fucking government, then you need to be the change. You need to stop preaching and start doing.
Delegates are starting to come out. Delegates are starting to come out. Let's greet them. Let's greet them. Congratulate them for the courage. Congratulate them for the courage. They have shown this week. They have shown this week. What we are going to do. What we are going to do. Is make sure every delegate who comes out. Is make sure every delegate who comes out. Is greeted. Is greeted. And we all together. And we all together. As a movement. As a movement. March to the boathouse. March to the boathouse. Where we have a PA system. Where we have a PA system. So that we can discuss. So that we can discuss. Our victory with the brave delegates walking out. Our victory with the brave delegates walking out. But also where our movement should go from here. And also where our movement should go from here. I have no doubt. I have no doubt. That our good friends, the Philly police. That our good friends, the Philly police. Will follow us. Will follow us. Let's make sure. Let's make sure that we keep our political revolution. That we keep our political revolution at the center. At the center. And be absolutely courageous. And be absolutely courageous about our politics. About our politics. But let's not give these police. But let's not give these police any reason to come and arrest us. Any reason to come and arrest us. Because we are not interested in bravado. We're interested in building our movement. We're interested in building our movement. I'm not sure exactly what time we will head out. I'm not sure exactly what time we will head out. But let's wait and see. But let's wait and see.
20 minutes.
Okay. I hear 20 minutes.
20 minutes. I'm on social political law. We've been talking to delegates inside.
Okay, great.
Speaking right now.
They're locked in because of Hillary's speech.
Delegates are locked in.
Delegates are locked in.
Because the Democratic Party establishment.
Because the Democratic Party establishment
has lost so much credibility.
Has lost so much credibility.
That they are having to lock their own delegates.
That they're having to lock their own delegates.
Instead, they could have actually adopted Bernie's agenda.
They could have actually adopted Bernie's agenda.
And won the delegates over. But they didn't do that. Tim Kaine and Hillary Clinton is a marriage made on Wall Street. We are only going to end this corporate stranglehold. If we build our movements. Independent of the two corporate parties. So let's make a beginning tonight. For an independent party of the 99%. And let's fight for every vote for Jill Stein. Thank you and solidarity.
Okay, everybody, my name is Eric Reynolds. I am Congressional District 11 in California from the San Francisco Bay Area. I do have some news if you guys would like to know about our strategy today. Okay? This was a carefully planned strategy. We had a strategy behind this. It began weeks ago when California ordered yellow-green shirts that said, "Enough is enough." You may have seen some of our state delegates wearing them today as kind of like a sneak peek of what we were going to do. Our goal was to fill as much as possible, to fill the inside of the Wells Fargo Center with green. Okay? We wanted to send a message. The shirts were distributed while here at the DNC to all state members. It was, again, very carefully done. We tried to do it under the radar as much as possible. California was the lead state as far as strategizing. We did a daisy chain communication where we were very careful in the DNC because we were always being watched. Always being watched.
Thank you, California!
We had a number. Today, the mission was to bring in yesterday's mission was the no TPP during Obama's speech. We put up those signs in silence to respect the POTUS when he was speaking. We felt that by putting up the signs, we would show the world that they could read exactly what we wanted. No TPP.
No TPP!
Today's effort was a ban on fracking. We want to show, again, the signs that we are against fracking. We put up the signs. We had captains and whips at the end of the aisles. This was very well planned to tell us when to chant and when not to chant. So it was very careful. We were very respectful during the moments we had to be. The DNC has been very unfair to us over the last 4 days.
They've been terrible.
Yesterday, I voluntarily gave my credentials up for a hall pass. They called it a hall pass. They told me it's because my fellow delegate from California was sporting a no TPP sign down on the press floor and was attacked by a Hillary whip. The whip captain was left alone, and my fellow delegate Joe was taken by the DNC security and the Philadelphia police. They then told that we were taken out to the hallway, and he said, I have to use the restroom. He was escorted to the restroom, which is just absolutely horrible and humiliating. I followed him into the restroom. You can go to the United 4, the number 4 Bernie page, and you can watch my live stream that's archived there of the actual incident, if you'd like to see it. He was so scared, he was shaking. He's a family man, he's got children, he's a peaceful protester. His name is Joe. He's a great guy, fantastic guy. And here he was accused of striking back, which he didn't do. He was struck at, he put his hands up, backed away, and they jumped him.
Shame.
Yes, very shameful.
Shame.
So then, when we went out to the hallway, they gave us, Joe said, I need another delegate, I'm scared. of what they're going to do with me by removing me from the delegation floor. I volunteered, I gave up my credentials, and we left the premises yesterday. We did not feel safe. There have been a number of altercations in Kentucky. I believe a delegate by the name of Josh was arrested and removed.
Delegate was arrested.
Yes.
I know a delegate.
I have not heard any arrests.
I did not feel safe. I did not feel safe.
He did not feel safe!
He did not feel safe!
They have treated Bernie with such disrespect. They have treated his staff with very much disrespect, and all of us volunteers. Bernie did everything proper, clean, ran a clean campaign, and what did they do? Steal elections. I'm in California, and I've been very intimately involved with the election fraud. We are going to stop this election fraud. We are going to go through the courts. We are going to go to the streets. We are not going to vote for Hillary, ever. No Hillary.
Can you tell me a little bit about what happened tonight?
Tonight? Tonight, it was the coronation of Hillary, the Queen Hillary.
We've been hearing a lot of rumors about actors taking alternates' places. Is that true?
There's more to it than that, even.
Oh, yeah?
I thought it was just, filling seats, and that seemed a little fishy to me. But then when we saw that there was... I ran into 3 guys today who came to me pretending to be Bernie activists, and they were like fake, like... Someone had done a stereotype of what a hipster activist looked like, and they were actors that were delivering lines and trying to find out information and sort of infiltrate into what we were doing to find out where the t-shirts came from, what we were planning to do, were we going to do a certain thing or another. So that was surprising because I didn't think it went that deep to hire spies like that. Oh man, well, Philly's awesome. And this has been an amazing experience to meet all the people that come from all over the country to care about our country and care about what's happening, care about the world. So I've just met the most excellent people here, Plus the people in Philly are pretty cool, and they got an amazing downtown, they got amazing buildings. It's monumental, it's diverse. It's great to be here for that.
Do you feel like the Democratic Party has betrayed you?
Oh man, the Democratic Party has betrayed itself. There's not any way that your average American believes that this is any longer a democratic system. The curtain has been pulled back. Pandora's box has been opened. You can't put this stuff back. So, before there was an illusion, there was ignorance, and there was an illusion about that ignorance. And now that people have information, they have a sense that there's something deeply wrong with this, and it needs to change.
It started out very peacefully, very quiet. It took a long time for us to be able to leave because we all stood up, we were lined up. Some of us had gags on our mouths. We had signs that said "No voice, no unity," and we were under intense scrutiny. We finally were allowed to leave. We left, and as we're filing out, we get out in the main lobby, and we're surrounded a circle around us of Comcast cops. This is true fascism. These are Comcast plainclothes cops. So as they stood around us in a circle, a lot of media started interviewing us. So they interviewed us for a while, and then after all those interviews were done, the Comcast cops opened up, and real police came in, and the real police started moving us out and herding us out of the place. So we got close to the front doors, and some of us felt, well, this is ridiculous. We're elected delegates. They can't make us leave. So I turned to this cop and I said, under what authority are you preventing an elected delegate from attending the national convention? And he wouldn't answer, and he wouldn't answer, and he wouldn't answer, and he keeps pushing me back and pushing me back. We get to the door, and I stopped. I asked him again. I said, under what lawful authority are you preventing an elected delegate from attending a national convention? He says, you don't have credentials. And I go, the hell I don't. He grabs my credentials lanyard and starts yanking at it, trying to pull it off my neck. I grab it. We have a struggle over it. He finally gets my credential tag and rips it off. At this point, I'm pretty much pushed outside of the place, and the guy behind me, Delegate John Knight, is just very passive, standing very quietly in the door, refusing to move, and they start assaulting him. They literally are grabbing him, pushing him around. I'm telling this cop, this is a very gentle, peaceful man. Knock it off. To quit assaulting him. They finally stopped. Man, it was outrageous. It's outrageous. They have absolutely no right to do what they did. They have those Comcast company has no right to eject elected delegates. It's fascism. It is the perfect merger of corporation and state. And that's what we had. We knew it was going on, but that was the ultimate epitome of it, and I'm the proof of it right here.
Is there any credence to the rumors that the DNC bust in actors to get more space in to display party unity?
Yes, we have it on good authority that people are being paid up to $50 to sit in a seat, and they went to great efforts to do that, and they also took Hillary delegates from California and spread them out. But what was really bad was that the volunteers. They were paying the volunteers this money to go sit in seats, and they were taking seats that should have gone to alternates. There was a point today we couldn't seat our entire delegation. Now, yesterday, the party the party establishment in the DPO actually stood up for us, and they made sure that we could sit in our seats. But there was almost physical confrontations at times, and we're not an aggressive, violent group. We're very peaceful. We sit down, we go limp, we don't fight. But it got to the point where there was a little bit of pushing and shoving just to get people in our seats. That's outrageous. This isn't democracy. This is such a farce. I mean, we're the laughing stock of the world. And the whole speech being given tonight was so jingoistic. I mean, 1 million American flags and how great our military is, and we can stomp anybody we want to. And I felt like I was in the German Reichstag, and it was when they were electing Hitler president. It was so surreal. And yet we went out quietly and peacefully, and we were treated like we were traitors to our country instead of the patriots that we are. It's outrageous.
Is there anything that you want to get back to your people in Oregon about what happened tonight? What happened for your entire state, for our entire state? Because we are Oregon locals, and we just want to know, what do you want to tell our people who voted almost 70% for Bernie?
Well, I want to say that you were represented well. Those of us who promised that we would do what the people who sent us here asked us to do, we kept the promise. We told them that we would not waver, we would stand firm, and in fact, Oregon was a national leader in the revolution, and a lot of people said that. Oregon, California, Washington were just amazing. And considering how some of our planning had been disrupted, before we got here, the fact that some of the women in our delegation put it back together and forged alliances and made it as effective as it was good. What did we accomplish? Well, we didn't really change anything. We got a half-hearted apology from the DNC for their misdeeds over the election season, but they put it out in the form of an email press release, and they never apologized for what they did. They apologized for making it discoverable what they did, essentially. We're sorry for the comments we made in our emails. Well, no, how about being sorry for what you did, which is rigging 15 primaries? How about that? Let's start with that, And that's all we wanted. And we wanted that from the podium, and we didn't get it. And then we got this militaristic, jingoistic speech, and so we exercised our constitutional right to go out and give a statement to the press, to walk out. And instead of being allowed to take our seats back if we wanted to, I was illegally decredentialed, a violation of my Fourth Amendment rights, violation of my rights as an elector, as a citizen of the United States. I'm a constitutional attorney, and they violated, probably 8 provisions of the Constitution tonight, what they did. This was but we're glad. It's finally exposed. I hope that some of our people got this on video, what happened. I know a lot of foreign press, I think, got it. Whether we're going to see it at MSM, I don't know. But I'm glad you're here. I'm glad guys like you are here to get the message out. Tuesday was, it was all the pro forma stuff, adopting the credentials committee, blah, 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 blah. And, if we had been as organized as we were a few months ago before things got kind of disrupted, we would have been able to really muck them up, because simple pro forma thing like adopting the credentials report, we could have made it take 2 hours instead of 5 seconds. But we finally got to the point where we got pretty organized. And So that it was really pretty dull up to that point. There was a lot of action in there, when Bernie gave his deal. And then there were rumors flying about that Vermont was going to pass during the roll call, come around, put her over the top, and then Bernie would stand up and make the motion for acclamation. And we didn't believe it, but he did it. We're not angry with him. I want you to know something. At least most of the delegates I talked to, 99% of, we're not angry with him at all. He did what he could. It's like Jill Stein said, you can't create revolution inside of a counter-revolutionary party. We're all for taking over the party, but that's not a solution. You have to work on the inside and the outside both. And you're never going to get revolution from within a counter-revolutionary institution. That's obvious. But we're going to make revolutionary changes within that institution, either to make it ineffectual, or to make our job easier.
One person, one vote. One vote. One vote. One person, one person. One vote. One vote. One person, one person. One vote. One vote.
There's fresh meat in the club tonight. God bless our dead Marines. Someone had an accident above the burning trees. Or somewhere distant, peacefully, our vulgar princess sleep. Dead kids don't get photographed. God bless our dead Marines. The hungry and the hanged, the damaged and the done, striving along the spinning rock, tumbling past the sun. Get through this life without killing anyone, and consider yourself golden. Lost a friend to cocaine, couple friends to smack. Troubled hearts map deserts, and they rarely do come back. Lost a friend to oceans, and lost a friend to hills. Lost a friend to suicide, lost a friend to hit pills. Lost a friend to monsters, and lost a friend to blame. Lost a friend to stubborn pride, and then I lost myself. Oh, I love my dog, and she loves me. The world's a mess, and so are we. We tumble along green muddy fields, sick with joy and glee. And as she dreams sweet puppy dreams, whimpering gently, there's fresh meat in the club tonight. God bless our dead Marines. Someone had an accident above the burning trees, while somewhere distant peacefully our vulgar princes sleep. Dead kids don't get photographed. God bless this century. When the world is sick, can no one be well? But I dreamt we was all beautiful and strong. When the world is sick, can no one be well? But I dreamt we was all beautiful and strong.
But they want you to make some kind of statement, to stand up for the abuse that they have inflicted upon all of us, as you as delegates, on every single person in this audience and every Bernie supporter in this nation, because we have not experienced an election. We've experienced a coup. Hillary Clinton didn't win this election. She did not. It's a fraud. It's a fraud. It's a fraud. It's a fraud. It's not real. We know it's not real. We will not play the game of pretend. They can put up walls. They can pretend it's real. We won't play that game of pretend. We know what happened. So what I think my supporters want Yes, so I think, you know, what we're asking you is something I think is going to take an enormous amount of courage. I know that people, you know, just to stand up, to walk out, and to meet us on the other side of the fence, we'll all come together. You know, even if they shut the park down, we'll still meet you. This cannot go unnoted. They stole the election. They stole the American people's political will. They committed a crime against us, and nobody's holding them to account. If you give me credentials, they'll see this, but I'll go in with you. I'll go in with you. I know they won't let me, but I would be there. No, they have to hide. They're cowards and bullies. They're behind the walls. So I want to give the microphone over, but I just wanted to reiterate that to you because that's what everybody's hoping. Or if you can't do that, show solidarity together, all the delegates and all the people together, so we come together in a final moment. Thank you so much for listening to me, and thank you for your work.
Well, I'm Rich McFarlane. I was 20 feet from Bernie Sanders. I'm in a New Jersey delegation. It was right to our left is Vermont. What happened is every single, they went through each state. In each state, they gave a little speech about how wonderful Hillary was. And then what they said is Hillary got X number of votes and Bernie got another number. And then they counted super delegates in the first one. And when it came, they went through alphabetical order, and when they got to Vermont, the Vermont delegation said pass. Then they went through the Latin. No, the awesome part comes later. Then what happened is when it came time, when they finished up all the states, it went back to Vermont, and right before it did, we saw Bernie come out, and he was like in the back room somehow. He came out and he sat down, and there's all cameras in front of him. I was like from here to him, away from him, but I couldn't see him because there were so many people, and I could just see him a little. Then he said that he wanted to suspend the rules, the temporary rules that they had, and ultimately Hillary was nominated at that point. And by acclamation, he was nominated. I don't fully understand exactly what happened, but I'll tell you what happened the minute he walked away. I didn't know this was going to happen, but it was organized silently that nobody knew, and everybody started walking out. It was like everybody. There was like at least 1,400 people. I believe it was between 1,000 and 1,400 delegates walked out. They all walked out, and then we walked out. Then a bunch of our guys went and they occupied one of the media tents. And when they went inside to get interviewed, the cops came and went and let them out. And about what? All right, wait, we have somebody who's in media tent right here, and she's gonna pick up where I'm leaving off.
We actually organized the walkout a couple of hours ahead of time. There is a group that works together. There's one person from every state and territory on organizing protests internally. So that's what we've been doing this entire time. And the way that it works is those types of things have to be kept under wraps. So only a little bit of information is shared at a time. We call it horizontal organization. And it's shared by word of mouth for the most part.
Well, let's finish the walkout first.
Sure. Okay. I will try to be quick. So we organized that ahead of time. There were people represented from every single delegation. Not everybody was comfortable with walking out. There is a lot of backlash from our state parties, and because we do have to stay somewhat, I don't want to say loyal, but we have to stay in somewhat good terms to work within the parties for change. Some people are not comfortable with demonstrating. I'm not one of those people. I don't give a shit.
Hey guys, my name is Ann Hamilton. I'm an elected Bernie Sanders delegate for North Carolina District 10. The beautiful city of Asheville. Hippies! I'd just like to say we love you, and we could not be doing what we're doing without you. So you must keep coming back. You must show up. We got your back. We've got your back.
Go ahead.
So I was part of the walkout. I was in the media tent. I was also allowed to exit the media tent. Upon our exit of the media tent, there were full tactical gear officers with machine guns. There were snipers on the roof with elected There were snipers on the roof with us in their crosshairs, as in aiming at us in case anything didn't go the way they wanted to. There were two organizers, a representative, I will not get too specific, from Vermont, and then another organizer from another state that were detained by the Secret Service. All the media said there were no arrests because there were not. There were illegal detaining our people for hours, forcefully. They finally released them.
Kidnapping! All right. I want to put some stuff into context for you. I hear a lot of questions about the politics and how it all works, the inner workings of the convention. Burn it down. This is what you need to understand. The convention is a 4-day infomercial. It is a scripted television show. What we are doing out here is real democracy. Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Okay, look. Democracy is messy. If we were trying to have an orderly show the way that they're having an orderly show in there, this man who spoke would get 2 minutes, and there would be a clock in the back of the room counting down, and when he was done, they'd play music and they'd walk him off. And all of you that have things to say, that want to talk, you would be sitting silent. There are 20,000 people in that room, and they're sitting silent. What we get to do is hold up signs, right? What we get to do is clap. Their signs, we can bring in we sneak in our own signs, like, but I want you to understand, it is a scripted show. There's not dialogue. This is not the Continental Congress of 1789. This is not what that is. So, you heard our cheers. So, what I want to talk to you about, and what I want you to think about, is what we do tomorrow and what we do after tomorrow. So, Bernie Sanders is not going to be the Democratic nominee. We are not going to get a VP pick that we want. So the first thing, and I want you to understand, a lot of us are passionate and we want to be on one accord. Yes. The only way, in a real democracy, people aren't on one accord. The only way we can do that is looking like we're on one accord, and then we would have to do the same things out here that they're doing in there. So what you have to understand, because one of the things that happens is that people are telling us, delegates, get your voters in line. Bernie, tell everybody to vote for Hillary. They think that that's how it works. They think that I can come out here and say, okay, look, you guys, we lost, but Trump is worse, so we need you to all go in there and vote. We believe the words that are written on that Declaration of Independence more than anybody in that arena. That means that we are free people, and each one of you has a decision to make. He's not going to be the nominee. We've got some of the platform issues that we wanted in the platform. You can stay and fight to get some of those realized, or you can leave. But listen, we don't all have to make the same decision. We are free people. We can work on both sides. One of the things that I want to tell you is that, and I work with the Democratic Party, or I did. I might have lost my job after the speech I made today. But, and I might lose it for what I'm about to say now. Thank you. They need our votes. Hillary Clinton cannot win the White House with at least most of us voting for her. More importantly, and this is something for you to consider, democracy is hard work. This is thinking. If she wins, she won't be able to get any of our agenda through a Republican-controlled Congress. Some of you think she won't even try. This is why, and I'm giving you some inside baseball because I want you to understand so you can make informed decisions. The reason why when we walk out, they fill our seats with seat fillers is because they want to give the illusion to the rest of the American public that we have all unified. Black Lives Matter does not and has not ever endorsed a political candidate or a political party because we're waiting to see who endorses us. But as part of the show last night, you saw mothers of children who were killed by police. Part of that is pandering for black votes. Part of it is to give the impression that Black Lives Matter has endorsed this party. When they fill the seats, it gives the impression that the walkout didn't happen. However, the people sitting in those seats, the Hillary delegates sitting in those seats, know that they're sitting next to actors. And they are concerned. One of the things, and so what I want you to know is that even though we didn't get this candidate, and this is for everybody to make individual decisions, I'm not trying to tell you what to do. But one of the things is that the Democratic, there are states that they have to win. You hear about these states: Ohio, Pennsylvania, Florida, Georgia, Missouri. They're worried about losing these states. And what happens is they need people to go knock on doors to get out the vote for Hillary in these states. And listen, when the party sees empty seats, they don't want to give money to that state to go out and knock on doors. So you have power. You have power. I want you to know that our absence is power, and we can still get things if you want to try and get things. If you don't, then we need to build something else. And I'm going to have Miguel talk about what we can do after Thursday.
And so I just want to, we have a couple.
I'm so sorry, and it's not about hogging the mic. This is imperative that everyone understand. Your votes don't count anymore. We just had this election stolen. I don't know how many more times I can say it. It was a coup. Go to electionfraud2016.wordpress.com. I have every bit of evidence documented, state to state to state. They cheated, okay? So when he's talking about your votes and they need our votes, the reason that Hillary Clinton can go like this to you and choose Tim Kaine as VP and go like this to you and say, hey, you know what? Debbie Wasserman Schultz helped me cheat. I'm going to install her. You know why she can do that? Because she doesn't need your votes. I beg of you. I've been working on this for 4 months. They stole it. This is not real. They're pretending. So for you to go forward and think
to back, and you have to tell every single candidate, I beg of you, every single one, you will not vote for them. You will not give them money. You will not work for them. Unless they address the issue of election fraud.
I just wanted to add what I'm going to do. I'm just going to add what I'm going to do. What I've been doing for all week long is I don't go in and do the protests like other people have been doing. What I've been doing is live streaming all week long. So if you go to Citizens Media TV, you can watch what's going on, hear the opinions of people around us. Citizens Media TV on Facebook. That's what I've been doing. So I am going back in to show you the crap that goes on inside. Citizens Media TV on Facebook. Facebook.com/CitizensMediaTV.
I just want to respond to this lady's question right here, and it pains me to have to say this, but as far as changing the outcome of this week, we as delegates, there's absolutely nothing that we can do if we walk back in that building. If we get loud, if we get out of line, we have been told by the Bernie's campaign whips that we need to settle down. We have been told we would be escorted by Secret Service. They take our signs. The gentleman's right, the most effective thing we can do is to go through the gate and go straight to the media tent. The reason that I am out here with you right now is because I want you guys to stay motivated and not feel defeated. We need to come out here and let you guys know that this is way bigger than what is going on in that building right now. It's way bigger. So I want you guys to stay fired up about this.
So I have to tell you guys something. I want to go in there and make some noise like you're suggesting. But I really do feel like all of us here could do a lot outside to make more noise than inside. So, you know, the kind of noise that maybe is felt rather than heard. Not any kind of violence, of course. Organizing, taking everyone's name and email address, all of you together networking. Get the Fire Chat app. Make sure you all stay connected. Do not lose what's happening here, and you know, whatever is happening in there, like he really eloquently said, it's an infomercial, and they own the cameras. They own them. So no matter what we do, they're going to be able to explain to you something that is not real. So, like, we are the media, and so just stay above it. So you cannot make enough noise when they own the cameras. So you need to work in other ways, and I know that it sounds as if I'm preaching to you, but I am not. We are going to have to be as creative as we can be. And I really do want to explain this to you. The roll call that you are all asking about, I know we were all expecting that to happen publicly so that you could see us yell for Bernie and be louder than the Hillary people. That roll call was done at breakfast. We pick up our credentials in the morning at 9:30, 10 o'clock, depending on the day. We were asked to sign off on our vote at breakfast yesterday morning. That vote was taken on paper, and it was silent. There was no screaming, there was no yelling, and that was all not on camera. It was not on camera. So I just want to explain that tiny little detail to you, that the roll call that we were all expecting to happen in public, and you were expecting us to make a big show of, there was nothing. There was nothing. There was no opportunity, and that's the way it's set up. So I just want to explain that to you, that Bernie did not let us down by not raging out.
I also want to just let you guys know that we received text messages earlier that day from the campaign as Bernie delegates, and Bernie specifically asked us in all due respect and courtesy to him, to please not have a fight on the convention floor, and he didn't tell us to go in there and just be sheep, but he did ask as a personal request that we not go in there and make a ruckus, that we not go in there and be disruptive and disrespectful. Now, even though we were loud and held up signs and flags, that was still considered disrespectful inside that building, but we did the best we could.
Hello. Pretty soon, what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, in the next few days, you're going to come across Hillary people. And they're going to ask you, they're going to tell you that you have to support her, and this is what I think you should tell them. This is what I'm going to say. I'm going to tell them, you know what I did? This is my story. I gave Bernie more money than I could afford to give him. I spent every single Sunday for the last 9 months running a phone banking meeting out of my office, and I went out and I canvassed door to door 1 or 2 nights a week. I went and I talked to anybody who would listen to me about my admiration for Bernie and how he's the right person to lead America. And this is what you're going to have to tell them. Tell them your story, and then tell them, I'm not going to do that for Hillary, but it's up to you now. I want to see you go out. You spend all weekend long fighting for Hillary. You give her more money than you can afford. It's not up to me, it's up to you, because you can do it. Hillary and the world is counting on you to save us from Trump. It's not me. And you tell them what they have to do, because they're not going to do anything. There you go. And I love you. I love all. What's up, guys? Bernie or jail, but never hell. Bernie or jail, but never hell. Bernie or jail, but never hell. I love it, guys. I love it. Beautiful. I've been asking you to explain what's the next step. What are we gonna do? They asked me to explain what's the next step. What are we gonna do? We lost our leader. Well, how many people here are Bernie bros? How many people are really dedicated to Bernie to the 100%? I see their hands up. You know what I see in those hands? You know what I see in those hands? I don't see Bernie holding them anymore. I don't see Bernie holding those hands anymore. How many people are wearing Bernie diapers right now? Huh? Nobody. Nobody, because we're adults. Where's your training wheels? What did Bernie teach you? Bernie took it as far as he can in less 2 years. The revolution has gained maybe 3 to 4 years of process. I've been waiting my whole life for this moment, this day. I don't want to see no sad faces. We're Americans. Fuck yeah! Right? I'll give up this to anybody who wants to go in there right now and make their statement. And you can say, I sent you. You can say, I sent you. Because you guys earned this. I say we all do it. And that's why I give them up. So here's the future. Let me explain the future. Now that I know you guys are ready for the future, this Democratic Party isn't even a Democratic Party. It's a Hippocratic Party. Just like the we delegates. And both of them, they represent the House of Represent themselves. It's time to move on. Before we were Democrats, before we were Republicans, who were we? Americans. But some people need to go farther than that. Before we were American, we were human beings with a heart. Where is the love? Where's the love? So here's the future. They're cutting me out quick. I'll talk to all of you when I'm done. But here it is. What Bernie's message was, it always been, he couldn't do this by himself. He couldn't. I couldn't do it by myself. I needed your votes. He needed our votes. He got our votes. We did all that. So what's the next phase? I want all of you to go home tonight. Look into your city. See what seats are available. Councilman, water board. This is the revolution. Forget of the rest. You guys are the leaders now. Now it's time to get more protesters to follow you. You gotta get more door knockers, and we're gonna destroy both parties. You wanna know what I'm doing? As a lifetime Democrat, I said it before, I'm going to spend the rest of my life fighting these hypocrites, fighting these redundants, and
I want us to make sure we all go home and we pull for Jill Stein. We need someone with substance to be on the stage. Because you guys are only going to talk about each other. Okay, sorry guys. I'll relay the message to you all personally.
Do you guys want something to do after tomorrow? There are 30 Bernie-crats running for Congress that can flip the face of Congress this year. I ran for Congress in 2014 and I followed the Democratic line. You know what they told me? Raise money first. The viability of a candidate in the Democratic Party is determined by how much money you raise. It has nothing to do with whether you'd be a competent legislator in our seat of government.
It's a learning experience.
My name is Karen Strano Taylor. I'm running for Congress in Pennsylvania's 5th District. My district covers 24% of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. It is rural and it is poor. We are suffering under the economies that our party has given us with the help of a Republican gridlock Congress for 6 years. We can be pissed, but nothing will change if we don't give Bernie some people to work with in Congress. This morning, in my Democratic breakfast, I was ready to be done. This process grinds candidates who believe in a progressive movement into the dust. And I went to Democracy for America's training, and I met Jeff Epstein, who said, "Holy shit, you're running for Congress." And I gotta tell ya, it is the best I felt about trying to take a seat in the People's House in over 3 years. There are a lot of people that are running that agree with you. They need your help. You need to find them and help send them to Washington to stop Hillary or Trump. It doesn't matter who takes the White House, they're gonna need our help. Thank you for standing strong for Bernie Sanders and for standing strong for America. Thank you.
All right, we're all coming in the crowd. Whatever questions you got, ask us.
There are lists all over the website. We can get them posted in live stream so you can find them. We will do that for you.
Thank you all. We love you all. We are coming in the crowd to talk to you. Ask us whatever you like.
So we're here at Mount Rushmore in South Dakota. How's it we came to find ourselves on the road traveling across the country?
There was the Democratic National Convention that just happened this past week, and it was basically both a convention and a large organized protest on the outside. And my boyfriend and some very good friends of mine were on the inside all week with all the nicely dressed delegates and, with all the rules and all the, ever-shifting rules, by the way. And then we were on the outside. We wanted to go to support them because they have been unfairly treated. We have all been unfairly treated from the beginning of this. Hillary Clinton has been coronated from the beginning. And, of course, the DNC leaks, the emails, and Debbie Wasserman Schultz's resignation are all proof of that. But we already knew. So we were here to protest that and to stand in solidarity with them. So we decided to drive across the country from Portland, Oregon, all the way to Philadelphia. And it was very last minute, and we knew each other vaguely. Actually, we didn't know each other at all. We knew the same person vaguely, and they connected us, and it was great. The week started out with us finding out that the city of Philadelphia had actually made fairly good accommodations for us to stay. People protesting were able to stay in FDR Park. We ended up not, just for the one night we kind of camped in our car. It was crazy. But basically the city of Philadelphia was very welcoming of us in general. There are exceptions to that. I know a couple folks who got manhandled later in the week, but it started out really quite peaceful. The Bernie people on the inside, the Bernie delegates, organized a huge, happy, celebratory chants at the welcome dinner that made the Hillary people feel very uncomfortable, which was wonderful to hear. That's great because, I mean, honestly, the rest of the week was a vacation for them, so at least we got one night of celebration. The march Monday morning that we participated on the outside of the convention was also very celebratory, just because there were so many different groups unified together to do this huge march down Broad Street, a main thoroughfare in Philadelphia. And so that was really exciting. So it started out kind of with a big bang, and then it just got really discouraging after that. Overall, it was both incredibly deeply discouraging and sickening, just the continual emotional abuse from not just Hillary delegates, but all the officials on the inside, police, corporate media. Some Hillary delegates, not all, but some Hillary delegates were yelling shame on you for just holding up signs, which is perfectly allowed. They were basically emotionally abusive all week. I know a friend of mine who couldn't go to the bathroom, and they're in a wheelchair, and they were told that they didn't have access to the bathroom for several hours, and that's really disturbing, and they almost didn't go the next day. Even though they're an elected delegate, they felt pushed out of the convention because they were a Bernie supporter. So things like that happened. I got yelled at. I ended up getting into the convention for 6 hours with a pass, and I got yelled at for holding up a very small no TPP sign, and a Hillary delegate yelled across the way, "Shame on you, that's awful, how could you?" And tried to make me feel really bad for something that was perfectly okay to do. And free speech, perfectly safe free speech. And actually, the TPP was a discussion item on the convention's platform. So, I mean, it wasn't sure what was going to be done yet, but it was, perfectly okay to be doing, and we just got shamed for that. So, the rules were changing constantly. So basically, it kind of became a mess by the end of the week. But we did some really wonderful things in solidarity. The protest outside was very unifying. There was a little bit of issues, but overall, everyone was very peaceful and exchanging contact info left and right and encouraging each other, providing food for one another, helping each other out when somebody wasn't feeling well. But on the inside, some of the good things that happened, despite all the abuse, emotional abuse that happened, and physical abuse, by the way. There were some people shoved off stages, people pushed out of their seats, all sorts of things happened. Thankfully, nobody ended up in the hospital that I know of. So there was some beautiful things, like we got to chant "No More War" on national television during one of the... it was the former CIA's director, or however you call it. It was during his speech that we got to shout "No More War," and we were heard. People in Oregon called us later and told us that they heard us on the television during his speech. So that was really exciting. And then there was 2 walkouts that were a little bit scattered, but unified in purpose. Everyone, when I looked at the media reports, NPR did an interview with some folks, and all across the board, it wasn't about sore losing, not at all, of course not. It was about the crooked process and the fraud that happened and the silencing of elected delegates who represent real people and real voices.
It seems like the process for this whole primary election, it seemed to be going as if, voting for this situation seemed to mean something, and going to the convention seemed to mean something, but it didn't really turn out to be that way. Can you sort of elaborate on that?
Yeah, so we all knew that we were almost, like in the end, with all the counts that happened, even despite the missing ballots that are still missing today, or didn't get counted before the convention, which really means that they were missing forever, because if they didn't get counted before the final decision, then, that's not okay. But even apart from that, there were changes of rules behind Bernie delegates' backs. There were changes of times of meetings, and delegates being pushed out of their seats. So we had this hope that, we were fairly unified and ready to work with Hillary delegates, some people, and there were actually Hillary delegates who were, in the end, empathetic with us. It was really sad to see only a few people really listen. But overall, it's not about even the Hillary delegates. It's about the DNC leaders who were really silencing us, and the corporate media, who also, by the way, cut out most of our no more war chant. I found one Arizona channel on ABC that hadn't cut it out, but the rest of them tried their very best to cut almost everything out so that it really looked like nothing. And so we had high hopes that maybe something could be worked out where, like if we were super highly organized, the Bernie delegates, which by the way, they worked day and night and almost got no sleep the entire convention, and even before the convention to try and coordinate. They downloaded apps to be able to communicate with each other, all these things, all these coordinations that the Hillary delegates didn't even have to bother with because it was a coronation.
So you made it into the convention for about 6 hours, as you said earlier. What was the feeling like? How did you feel about being in the convention itself, and seeing what you saw?
So on the one hand, my heart was torn because I was excited I got the opportunity to see our president speak, and that was, the speaking actually wasn't super exciting because his topic was mostly affirming the coronation of Hillary, but it was exciting, and I wanted to stand up and be joyful, and I was for a few seconds, and then I just, my heart broke, and I just couldn't. I felt so torn because I want to be proud for my country, but I can't because I see all the injustice right now. I'm proud of the people in it who I have met over this process, who are either good listeners, and like Hillary delegates who are good listeners, or people who are already part of this family of this movement of social justice. So that I feel proud of that, but really the convention just made me sick. It was almost such thick tension that I almost left after the first hour just from feeling nauseated and just like I couldn't breathe from just all the tension and the stifling yelling of shame on you, or you can't go to the bathroom because we're going to not let you back in. The threat of getting your chair taken by somebody. I will say this, on the way back out, or not on the way back out, earlier in the day, I had seen, before I entered with a guest pass, I saw some folks dressed very nicely and with passes on, and I thought, I wonder which type of pass they have. And I asked, and they said, oh yeah, we're just guests. And it was the third day of the convention, and they're inviting guests. That's not supposed to happen. You're supposed to get a guest pass well in advance. I was only given one because somebody was so stressed out by their emotions of, all the tension in there that they decided to leave early and give up their pass. And so I took it from them for the 6 hours because they gave it to me. But other than that, what happened is, in order to shift the feeling of tension, they tried to bring in more Hillary supporters. And so there was just increasing amounts of people that I met on the streets who, when I asked them, they were Hillary people. They had Hillary swag or said they were for Hillary or whatever. Clearly not Bernie people. There was increasing amounts of people coming in who were just guests.
Yeah, I definitely noticed being there that a lot of the Bernie delegates seem to be very dressed down, very working class looking people. Yeah. And the Hillary delegates that I saw were definitely dressed to the nines.
Yes, yes, that's definitely true. And I mean, you can't always judge, income level based on dress because, some people fork out all they got to look nice for something like this. But regardless of that, it's the prestige sense that, that somehow we're better because we're delegates. And it's like our delegates didn't have that at all. In fact, we were very, very unified protesters and delegates. And actually, at the end of the convention, when the final walkout happened during Hillary's coronation speech, the Bernie delegates tried to get out to come hang out with us in FDR Park and to continue the protest out there, unified with the protesters who had been there all week, and to feel the love. And they were blocked from most entrance or exits by the police, and then sent to different corners and purposely dispersed as if we had been violent, which we had not been. There was one case of, it wasn't even violence, it was cutting a fence open. That's it. Like the whole week, there was really, that I can think of and that I witnessed or that I heard of or that the news reported, zero violence, just a little bit of pushing and shoving maybe in the protesters, but nobody got hurt, except for an accident happened. Nobody got hurt on purpose. So there was no need for this dispersion, like this fear of us being dangerous, because we weren't. We were just angry. We were very nonviolent. We even did a candle vigil. One of my favorite parts of the whole week was actually the night before this final walkout, where we were sitting around in a circle just singing together and had candles lit, and we're kind of praying for our country to whatever God we wanted, just in unity. And it was absolutely beautiful. It totally brought tears to my eyes. So there's definitely a sense of unity and longing for us to be very connected as a family. And I think that's exactly what happened. So in that sense, it was the most amazing week ever.
Bernie Sanders tried to get his delegates to vote for Hillary Clinton and to not cause a big scene within the convention. How do you think the delegates felt about that and casting their votes for Bernie anyway? Yeah, what do you think about that?
I think that there was a mix of kind of giddy excitement for being a little bit rebellious, because I think Bernie, at least from what I could tell when he came to breakfast the next morning on Thursday, or not the next morning, but when he came to breakfast to the Oregon delegation and spoke to us, it was quite clear that, it was clear that everyone was sad. We were sad that he had not conceded, he did not concede, but that he encouraged voting for Hillary. We were sad. There were many people crying, like weeping, really, and holding each other while he spoke. And then there was also a sense of just, it's going to be all right, because we all know that this movement is bigger than this election. And that's ultimately what he ended up talking about to us. So it really wasn't even about what he said. I think that he said it because he kind of had to, in order to keep his voice in the Senate or keep any sort of voice really at all in the political scene. What he talked to us about was also just, a forward movement, and that, he did focus on voting for Hillary a little bit, but it was more just to keep this movement going by voting for your local officials. And so I think the delegates felt empowered by that and encouraged by that. And I think Bernie felt sad that maybe that it was all uncomfortable for everybody and that everybody was kind of sad. But I think he felt a lot of hope and encouragement. He, acknowledged that we did have the most progressive platform passed ever in the history of either party, which is amazing. It's really amazing. And so I don't know what we're going to do looking forward. I know a lot of delegates are very torn about what to do now come November. But as far as voting for Bernie during the convention, really, I don't think anyone had any qualms. It was like, okay, Bernie, you're asking us to do this, but we're going to listen to the thousands and thousands of voices that we represent. It isn't ultimately about Bernie. He was our beloved leader, and he still is he's our hero, but he's not the ultimate final word. Unity among the people is the final word.
So I saw you outside during the protests picking up trash and things. How did you end up doing that, and why did you do it?
Well, I think that two things. One is that I had that idea based on past experiences of just, we are an environmental activist group, promoting all sorts of things like no fracking and what we leave trash around. That's not okay. I don't know who all left trash around, but people have bad habits, I guess. you know? And so there was this lady who had the exact same idea I did. She just beat me to it, which was to go buy a roll of like 30 trash bags. And so we recruited some other people who were willing and happy to help. And people who weren't helping were telling us thank you and bringing us their personal trash to dump in there in the trash bags. And it's something I've done before, and it just seems like an easy way to take your anger and turn it into immediate action to represent this group well, so that we can continue to be respected and received well as much as possible. I just think that the most important thing is that we're connected now, and that's what this was all about. Was we kind of knew that there was a good chance that Bernie wouldn't win. We wanted him to, and there was still hope, but we knew that ultimately this is a bigger picture than that. This is like he's always said, not him, us, not me, us. And so I encourage you to take that to heart and vote for local officials in your city council, in your state representatives. Become a politician if you want. Honestly, even if you don't want to, if you've got the skills or you have the energy, do it. We need people like us who are aware of the struggle from the grassroots level to be in office and making good, healthy decisions for people who are otherwise overlooked. My experience in canvassing was wonderful. I didn't realize how much I actually like canvassing. It is exhausting, but it's really rewarding and fun, and you get to just talk to people about something that's a basic right for them, which is voting, and people forget about it, honestly. And so it was really encouraging just to even just remind people that this is a thing that they get to do, that not everyone gets to do in the world. And so that was really a good experience for me. I ended up canvassing first in Washington because they came first, and they're our neighbors. Living in Portland, Vancouver's just across the road, and so we got to go over there and canvass, and it was an amazing community. I miss that office. It no longer exists as an office, but the community still exists. I have many people's numbers from that experience together in that office, and I spent almost every day of my spring break in March because I work in a school, and spent almost every day there canvassing out of that office. And one of the delegates became my good friend. Well, she wasn't a delegate at the time, but one of the super volunteers, Dorothy Gaske, who helped organize the Washington Goldfinch movement, which is a political PAC that actually helped organize promoting local candidates who were Bernie supporters, and like Rob Frisina, who's running for state legislative in, I think, District 17, and promoting just get out the vote, and promoting the caravans that came to the DNC protest, and promoting people to be delegates. And so there were many delegates from that group, and they were really some of the core organizers for the DNC convention. So out of that experience in Washington came such a rich community. I mean, we had a barbecue together, and I found out that one of the volunteers' husbands was a mechanic, and they were able to fix my car for more of a reasonable price. And so I was able to, that's why I was able to be here on this trip at all, is because of that connection. And it's just, there's so many connections from that. And then there was the Oregon canvassing that we did, which also created more connections. And then from the Oregon group, we were able to send some people, including myself, to California to help down there. So it was just like one after another. Like the movement continued throughout Bernie's campaign, and now it is continuing afterwards, because now not only do I know people in Washington, Oregon, and California who are part of this progressive movement, but now I know people in Texas, and people in New York, and people in South Carolina, and Hillary delegates who are wanting to be empathetic from several different states. It's great. It's great.
So you were a national delegate for Bernie Sanders representing Oregon.
Indeed. I was elected at the district level, so I was representing Bernie Sanders in the 3rd Congressional District of the Portland area.
And you also introduced Bernie Sanders at a rally here in Portland.
I did, the famous Bernie Sanders rally. I actually released the bird. That's one thing that people don't know. I trained that bird, so it's not just a fluke.
That's an inside scoop, I believe, for us the first time. You heard it here first.
You heard it here first.
So I was in Philly. I was on the outside. What I saw was every tactic being utilized possible to keep us protesters from seeing you delegates.
I think the only time, aside from the time that I actually went and joined the protesters outside, that I saw you guys was, I think it was on the first day or so. They had the fence kind of close to the Wells Fargo Center, so there's like 3 rows of fences, and I could see like protest signs like put against the last row of fences on FDR Park. So like, yeah, you couldn't really see anything, and that was just driving in. So they really tried to quell the protesters both inside and outside.
And what kind of things did you see on the inside?
There was lots of intimidation happening. I know I got a couple of my signs confiscated when I was going in. Just really simple, just paper signs. It said not Trump. And they just took it from me because apparently the First Amendment doesn't count inside the convention center. It's just like the stuff like that. I know that they installed a white noise machine by the California delegation because they were really loud. They shut the lights off on us on the Wednesday when we were chanting "No More War." So pretty much any way that they could silence us, they did. But we've tried to think of more different ways to keep our voices heard.
You had to switch it up as time went on, right?
Yeah, we had to switch it up. Monday was kind of like getting our feet on the ground, figuring out how this was going to work. Tuesday was the really big walkout when we walked out after they had announced that Hillary Clinton was officially the nominee. And that was I think that was probably our shining moment as an entire Sanders delegation nationwide. Because, we targeted the media tent. We targeted exactly the people that had been ignoring us for so many months. The DNC couldn't do anything about that because we went to the media.
Right. What happened that last night? I ran into you, but you were coming from blocks and blocks away from the subway exit. Yeah. Why weren't you coming out of that closest exit? I'm
not entirely sure, but I have heard stories that the night that the barrier was broken, they ended up making it harder to get to FDR Park from the convention or from the Wells Fargo Center, vice versa. So we had to actually end up walking really, really far around. We had to walk probably 1.5 miles out of the way just to get to a place where we could head towards FDR Park. I think it was a total 3-mile walk just to get to FDR Park.
And that was everyone, no exceptions, wheelchairs?
No. Oh, yeah, they didn't care. Honestly, they didn't care about the wheelchairs even inside the convention center. You think they would care about them outside?
They didn't care about wheelchairs inside?
No. The accessibility was such a joke. I spent Monday being a caretaker for a fellow delegate and friend of mine, Nico Serra. He's in a power chair, and he wasn't even allowed to sit with our delegation because there was not enough ADA accessibility. We had to wait an hour in the blazing hot Philadelphia heat for a bus, and most of them weren't even accessible buses. They asked him if he would be a prop on their stage when they were celebrating the passage of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And the reason he couldn't do it was because they didn't send him an accessible bus on time.
Well, you're acting like one. It's not much.
It was pretty hypocritical to say, hey, please celebrate the passage of this act, but we're going to screw you over and ignore the same act that we're celebrating.
Right.
So yeah, it was not fun for anyone, but I think especially not for people with disabilities, especially people with not visible disabilities, because they were treated like total garbage.
You were a Bernie delegate in Philadelphia?
I was a delegate for Bernie Sanders at the DNC.
What district specifically, Portland or?
For Multnomah County, CD3.
Can you tell us a little bit about your experiences in Philadelphia?
The one thing that I definitely took away from is how different the media portrays things rather than like when you're actually in the room, seeing the like what was shown on TV versus what was there. I mean, there was a day where all Bernie Sanders supporters were wearing glow-in-the-dark shirts, and I watched that day on like TV, and you couldn't even see those anywhere. So it's weird how the corporate media kind of is in bed with the party to make sure that they put the best foot forward. There's definitely a lot of drama there. It was really awkward to be with the Hillary delegates from Oregon. We stayed in the same hotel, took the same buses, sat in the same section, the Oregon delegation, and like the way that they treated us was definitely not ideal.
And you guys were in the King of Prussia, like past the King of Prussia Mall?
Yeah, it was literally like 1 block away from the King of Prussia Mall, so it was like 45 minutes outside of the city. So that's a long car ride with the Hillary delegates.
What was those car rides like with the Hillary delegates from the King of Prussia Mall? Was there a little tension in the van?
Tons of tension, and the worst was like when we're sitting, people don't realize how long the convention like is when you're just sitting there, and most of the time people aren't paying attention. Like you're just like kind of sitting there, and you have random speakers coming up that aren't entirely like talented orators. So like most of the time you're just like chilling there, and like there was a point where Obama was about to speak, and they were handing out Obama signs, and our Hillary delegates wouldn't hand us the signs. And it's like, just because you support Hillary Clinton does not mean you own our president. Like many of us like Obama at some point or at some level, you know, too. Like, so they weren't handing us the signs when they were being passed out. They were yelling at us, telling us to sit down and shut up. And I think it's funny because the theme of it, they kept trying to say it was unity. It wasn't unity, it was compliance, and it was forced compliance.
We heard a lot of stories in Philadelphia about Bernie delegates who had left the arena or tried to leave the arena and were replaced by Hillary supporters or actors. Can you give any credence to those rumors?
Definitely. I can't say for sure like who was paid to be an actor or anything like that, but as soon as there was definitely, especially for the later days of the convention, anytime that anybody left their seat, we were basically told your spot will be filled with a Hillary supporter if you leave. So the convention, it's not just prime time what's on the TV, but we're in there for like 12 hours sometimes. So to have to be in there and like be told you have to stay in your seat, if you go to the bathroom you're going to be replaced with a Hillary supporter, so we had to definitely stay strong, and throughout the whole time we were fighting for our own seats and our own delegation that we were elected to be there for. So I can't say for sure if they were actors, but they were definitely Hillary supporters that were replacing us if we ever got up and left. There was also a lot of people working for the Hillary campaign that were given access, and Bernie's campaign had almost 600 volunteers that were given access the first day, but after that they had their credentials stripped after they realized that we were not going to just sit quietly throughout the convention.
Were you part of the crew that helped lock down and occupy the media tent outside?
Yeah, I was. I was actually on the cover of Time magazine and coincidentally Breitbart for being in there. We put gags in our mouth to symbolize that we had been silenced by the media and by the party and by Hillary Clinton, and we went into the media tent because we felt as though the media had not adequately covered us and the campaign, so we were going to force them to have to cover it. And that was seconds after Bernie Sanders moved to nominate Hillary Clinton and suspend the rules. That's exactly when we went into the media tent. And it was most of the Bernie delegates from Oregon. There's a few Bernie delegates from Oregon that were quickly swayed to the Hillary side, and they stayed. And there were a few that just didn't feel like being a part of our protest, which I understand, and I still respect those people. But I was a part of that.
Other people from the Oregon delegation have mentioned to me that Comcast security was prevalent in the arena and quite, I wouldn't say abusive to the delegates.
Yeah, I would say abusive. And like there was no hiding it. They said their name tag said Comcast spectator, but the spectators were the ones like moving people from place to place, pushing people. There was one moment where somebody had literally ripped the credentials off of one of our delegates and then said, "You don't have any credentials." So and it's weird how they have no shame in that. Like they literally say Comcast on the name tag, and those were the people, I guess, acting as security.
So you didn't see like local law enforcement or federal federal law enforcement, just Comcast security?
There was definitely law enforcement present, but they were not the ones like moving people inside. Like the law enforcement didn't care what the optics of the situation were. They were literally there to just protect people. But the Comcast people were the ones literally altering the optics of the whole convention.
What was the air in the room like when the roll call turned to Vermont and Bernie Sanders?
As soon as he said that, I got up and left with most of my delegation, so I can't say for sure what it was like after we left, but I was told it looked like there was an empty house there, but on TV you didn't get to see that. But as soon as he said that, we got up and left. I think it's important to note that it's not a Bernie Sanders cult, right? It's about what he was talking about and the issues and the values that he was talking about, and we're going to carry those forward whether there's a Bernie Sanders or not.
Other things I heard about the inside the Philadelphia convention was that it was in the merchandising areas that there were only about one Sanders shirt per 12 Clinton shirts, like, you know, different logos, different merchandise. Did you see anything like that? I
saw 0 Sanders shirts that were available. It was all Hillary stuff. I didn't notice them selling anything Bernie Sanders related. They were actually confiscating Bernie Sanders signs the whole convention, and it was funny because the one day that Bernie spoke, they confiscated everything Bernie related, but then right before he spoke, they handed out Bernie Sanders signs to everybody, even the Hillary delegates, to make it seem like there was unity, but we had gotten our signs taken every other day of the convention. We had to sneak signs in. If we wanted to support Bernie Sanders, we had to sneak signs in, and that's why we had to be creative in having things like glow-in-the-dark shirts.
You say that you snuck merchandise in. On your person, in bags, like, how did that work?
Yeah, so, like, you would have to have, like, cloth signs or something like that people could put into their purse or something like that. If they took it out and read it, so it had to be foldable. If they took it out and read it, security coming in, they would confiscate that, unless it was a Hillary sign.
I remember in Philadelphia that right before Obama's speech, there was a cadre of individuals who went and broke the fence outside of the convention. Did you guys hear about that whilst you were in the convention hall at that time?
No, we didn't hear about it while we were in there, but many of us every single day after we left the convention and we're in there, we're having, we had to be at breakfast at 7 o'clock, which is 4 o'clock a.m. our time, and then we're in the convention hall until sometimes 11 p.m., and as soon as we were done there, we went to join the protesters, so that's when we heard about that kind of stuff. So there was no talk of it while we were in there. They did their best to keep us away from the protesters. There was a point where I tried to walk up to the fence just to tell the protesters that there were people inside on their side, and the police quickly tackled me. So
it's been about a month and a half since Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a bit about the progress from there? What you've seen the movement do?
Yeah, for sure. So a lot of our delegates have actually formed organizations or joined organizations and continued to be activists. Bernie told us, he actually met with us at our hotel and told us to bring the movement local, and a lot of them have continued to do that, as well as myself.
One nation, one family, we are in this together. Yeah. One nation, one tribe, one people, one nation, one family, we are in this together. Yeah. One people, one nation, one tribe, one people, one nation, one family, we are in this together. Yeah. One people, one nation, one tribe. one family, are in this together. Yeah. One nation, one tribe, one people, one nation, one family, are in this together. Yeah. One people, one nation, one tribe, one people, one nation, one family, are in this together. Yeah. One people, one nation, one tribe, one people, one nation, one family, are in this together. Yeah. One nation, one tribe, one people, one nation, one family, are in this together. Yeah. One nation, one tribe, one people, one nation, one family, are in this together. Yeah. One nation, one tribe, one people, one nation, one family, are in this together. Yeah. One nation, one tribe, one people, one nation, one family, are in this together. Yeah. One people, one nation, one family, are in this together. One people, one nation, one family, are in this together. Yeah. One people, one nation, one family, are in this together. Yeah. Unified, one people, one family, are in this together. One people, one nation, one family, are in this together. Yeah. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family, are in this together. Yeah. One nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family, are in this together. Yeah. One people, one nation, one family, are in this together. Yeah. One people, one nation, one family, are in this together. We are love. We are in this together. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family. One people, one nation, one tribe. One people, one nation, one family.
All right, can you tell us your name?
My name is Vermin Supreme. I am running for President of America. I am a friendly fascist. I am a tyrant that you can't trust, and you should let me run your life because I know what is best for you.
And what's that?
Ponies, motherfucker, ponies. That's right, I stand for 4 basic platform planks. They are as follows: mandatory toothbrushing laws, zombie preparedness, time travel research, and free ponies for all Americans. It is a federal pony identification system. You must have your pony with you at all times. Thank you, I'm Vermin Supreme. Vote early, vote often, and remember, a vote for Vermin Supreme is a vote completely thrown away.
Excellent. And we're still turning the pony poop into methane gas.
Absolutely. It's going to power America. What
do you have to say against allegations that your pony program will not be sustainable?
I tend to disagree with that completely. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for asking.
Good answer.
Hey, do you remember me? I was trying to get you to get a photo with Jesus in California. And Jesus didn't get a photo with you?
Oh,
he was all uppity?
Yeah. What with that? I know.